I'm going to give you tips when it comes to buying a house and also selling one at the same time. These tips are going to save you stress, time, money, and overall it's going to make your process much smoother when transitioning into your new house. My name is Heidi Knowlton. I'm a local real estate expert and my channel is all about the best tips when it comes to real estate. Be sure to subscribe and hit the bell so you're notified each week when I put out a new video. So here's my first tip. Whenever you're buying a house and also selling one at the same time, I would highly suggest that you list your house first and then you find your house after that. The reason that is because when you go to write your offer on your house that you're buying, if your offer says that you're contingent upon selling and then you also haven't listed your house yet, that kind of turns the seller off. Your offer to that seller is not as strong versus an offer that comes in that says, yes, we're contingent upon selling our house is already listed, our house is already under contract. The offer that has the house to sell that's also already under contract, the seller knows that that offer is going to move along faster. It's going to be much smoother and he's not going to worry as much because your house that you're selling is already under contract. So it kind of gives the seller like a little security blanket to know that, hey, his buyer is pretty secure. He has an offer on their house. It's most likely going to go through. So it makes your offer stand out a lot more than an offer that has a contingency, but the house isn't even listed yet and it's not ready to go. Another reason that it's helpful to have your house under contract before you buy the next one is because it makes the process easier on you as a seller. If you have your house ready to go, everything's done, pictures are done, your house has been decluttered, and then you go to buy the next house, and then once you go under contract, you now have to start the process of buying the next house, which is documents to the lender, and you have to have a home inspection done, and you have to have an appraisal done, and you have to look at the title report. If you have to do all those things and also prep your house for sale, you're going to be under a tremendous amount of stress and you're going to be so busy, it's going to be really hard. So if you get all of the sale stuff out of the way first, get your house listed, that's done. Then you move on to the next part of buying the house, and that process, it makes it run much smoother and it's going to be less stressful for you. So usually when I tell sellers to do it this way, their concern is that, well, what if I don't find another house to buy? So anytime you're selling a house and also buying a house, you want to make sure that you're contingent upon buying a new house. And what that means is that you put your house on the market and you're selling it only if you can find another house to buy. So if for some reason you can't find another house to buy, you can cancel the contract and you can stay in your current house. So that way you know that there is a backup plan should you not find a house to buy. So also on the flip side of this, you want to do this on the other end of buying your house also. If you can, it's not ideal, but if you need to, you can make your purchase also contingent upon selling your house. So then you're contingent on both sides and you are much safer. Your money's more protected this way. So when you go to buy your new house, it's ideal to not have a contingency, especially in a seller's market. I have another video on that. If you have questions about that, I can go over that in detail with you or just watch that video. But if you can buy without a contingency, that's ideal. If you have a contingency that you have to sell your house, that's okay too. It's going to be a little bit more difficult, to be honest, to find a house. But if you have to do that, you do have that backup plan, whereas if you don't sell your house, you can cancel the contract on the house you're buying and then you can stay in your current house. Doing it this way protects your money because when you go to buy that next house, you have to put down earnest money, and that earnest money is at stake should you for some reason not sell your house without that contingency, then you would lose your money. So in order to protect your money, make sure that you are contingent upon selling or that you have a backup plan for that. If for some reason you wrote the contract to be not contingent upon selling your house, make sure that you are really solid and ready to go by the time your due diligence deadline comes up, because that's your time period to be able to back out for any reason and still get your earnest money back. Okay, so moving on to the next tip. I would highly recommend that you have all your contingency dates lined up, mainly your loan and appraisal deadline. So for instance, on the house that you're buying, you want to have your contingency date for your loan also line up with the loan deadline for your current buyer. That's way you know that if your current buyers back out, you can also back out of the house that you're buying. So it's real important to have those dates lined up. It gets a little tricky. There are certain ways to write the contract so that you're protected. So make sure that you reach out to your realtor or myself and we can help you and guide you through that process. But it's really important and it's a really good idea to make sure your contingency dates line up as best as you can. The next date that you want to line up is also your closing date if you can. So if you're closing on your house that you're selling on a Friday, it'd be ideal to get keys to the house on Friday or even maybe earlier if you can, but you don't want to close on a Friday and then not get keys to your new house on a Monday unless you have a prearranged rent back, which is my next point. Make sure to have your closing dates line up as best as you can. Think about moving trucks, think about cleaning, your old house. Think about carpet cleanings, anything you have to be done. Make sure you have all that time frame lined up properly. It's really important that you have all your dates really ironed out. So talk to your realtor, talk to myself, and I can help you get those dates lined up. I do this all the time. And I see that sellers that buy and sell, they don't think about this because it's at the end and it's in the future, and you're so wrapped up in the current time of listing your house and then dealing with the lender to buy the new house and hiring moving trucks, and that kind of at the end, the dates kind of come up on you and they surprise you and then you're not ready. So it's really important to have this conversation at the very beginning when it comes time to list your house on how you want to strategically to line up the dates for closing on both houses. My next tip is to ask for a rent back if you can. On the house that you currently live in, you want to ask your buyers if you can stay after closing for time to move out and transition into your new house. This could be 2 days, it could be 2 weeks, it could be 30 days. The more time you have to transition into your new house, the better. When it comes to a rent back, sometimes you pay for them, sometimes you don't. You can negotiate it into the offer to where you're staying for 7 days after closing and you don't have to pay for it. Or maybe you really need that 30 days and then you're offering to give the buyer of your house some rent money to stay back in that house. But either way, negotiate a rent back, because it is a mess when you have to move out on, let's say, a Friday, but you don't get keys until 5 p.m. to your new house on a Friday. And now you've got hours or maybe a whole day where you're in limbo and your stuff is just sitting in a moving truck, and maybe your purchase gets delayed for another reason and now you have to wait till Monday and then you're stuck in a hotel. I mean, I've seen really awful things happen that just cause so much stress on the families when it comes to moving into that new house. So please think ahead, get a plan together to know exactly when you want to move, when you have possession of both houses, just to make it more easy for you. So those are my favorite tips when it comes to buying and selling at the same time. Please reach out to me or comment below if you have any questions. I'd love to hear an experience that happened with you, whether it was good or bad when it came to buying and selling at the same time. Of course, be sure to subscribe to my channel, hit the bell so you get notified each week, and I will see you on the next video.